republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jenny, do roll call, please.
Mayor Jameson?
Here.
Vice Mayor Jones? Here. Commissioner Jennings?
Here.
Here.
Here. At this point in time, Mr. Booth, on the agenda, you wanted to table something?
It is, if you'll table number one, the consideration of purchasing the property, brought to my attention that we need to get an appraisal from a certified appraiser to meet our ordinances. And so from this point on, we will do all negotiation in executive session.
So at this point in time, do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the revision?
Motion made.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second to approve the agenda with the revision, tabling item number one underneath finished business. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none is passed. At this point in time, we have a presentation. Jenny? Yeah, why not? Let's do the minutes before we do that. What do you say? I need approval of the January 11 minutes, please.
All right.
So moved. I have a
Second.
I have a move and a second to approve the minutes of January 11th. Any comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we have approval of the minutes. Thank you very much. Now we get to it. Jenny?
I'm not sure if everybody knows what the CMC program is, the Certified Municipal Clerk. Oh, okay, I'll explain it a little bit. It's a program that was designated by the IIMC, which is the International Institute. You can't hear? Is it working? You can't hear me?
It's low. Okay. I'll
You're
turn
just-
my hearing aids up.
You're just messing with me. It was designed by the International Institute of Municipal Clerks to help educate municipal clerks so they can do a great job, which we do. It was, like I say, it was designed to enhance the job performances, and in order to become a CMC certified, you must be a member of the IIMC for 2 years and meet their education and experience requirements. I am very proud to announce that my Assistant City Clerk, Angela Stone, has achieved that designation as of this month, and I would like to call her up and present her with her certification.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you very much, and I'm very proud of her. And I believe she's going on for her Master Municipal Clerk's designation.
Angela, anything?
No, just thank you to Mr. Booth, Jenny, the city for giving me the opportunity to receive that designation.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Thank you. Yes.
At this point in time, we'll open for citizens requests and comments. And these are for issues not on the agenda. If you give your name for the record and limit your comments to 5 minutes, please. I got the timer going.
Doris Wright. First, Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you for y'all start cleaning my area up, which was well overdue for years. And I want to thank you. But it's still not clean as I would like for it to be. And I would like for y'all to just come down and take a look at it. And you can see what I'm talking about. The second thing I would like to know, what have you all done about the letter, the bill that you gave me on the house that was rented? Remember?
Oh, yeah.
What you decided to do about the bill?
Ma'am, we decided that the renter has the responsibility for the service.
All right, that's all I want to know.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Susie Clark, you guys are going to like what I have to say. The one good thing about me being here tonight is we had too many Zumba people out sick. Bad news for them. But I just came down to say thank you so much on behalf of all the gals that do Zumba on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. We really appreciate being able to use the Civic Center. And we're all going to get better and hopefully be back there next Tuesday. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, I wouldn't count on next Tuesday. Because they're about to pass something, we're about to renovate it.
Here we go.
Here we go, I know.
Yeah.
Terry?
Terry Maltby, and I wasn't planning on coming up here, but you have a really bad hum from these rear speakers.
Say
If
what,
you're
please?
aware of that, you have a really bad hum from these rear speakers, so it's about the same volume as your voices, basically.
Jenny? Is that something that Emerald does, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I don't want Terry getting upset. Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll close citizens' comments. We'll move to new business. Consider awarding bid for the renovation of the High Springs Civic Center. Mr. Booth?
Yes, sir. Actually, we measured it and looked at it, and we had 2 bids, actually 3 bids. The lowest bid included all that, including doing the flooring at $87,000. We had estimated at $86,000. We estimated at $100,000. So we have a delta of about 16 on the positive side.
That included the flooring?
It did.
So if it's 86 for the total project, you got 14, so that would be available for any overages or any add-ons that they would come in and wanted to do additional stuff. We'd have 14 to play with a little bit.
Right.
Okay, so that we have a little bit of leeway on it. Okay.
So that first bid, the one that's the lower bid that includes everything, isn't quite as detailed the way that, he sent it in to us. First question is he a licensed building or general contractor?
He is.
Okay, because he doesn't have his license number on here.
He's well known to our staff.
Okay. So he would have to do bond, et cetera.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then his estimate is based on that proposal for bid that you gave us as part of the package.
That is true.
Which is much more detailed than this piece that he submitted to
Right.
us.
But he has to follow the bid.
Okay.
Who follows up on that, Mr. Booth? Is that Bill?
Bill does.
And we will have a construction contract that will have the bid as one of the exhibits.
Right.
So the details of the bid will be one of the exhibits, so it's there.
Yes,
Is that what you-
absolutely. So
Yeah.
that's when he signs the contract, he'll be obligating himself to follow all the specifications that
It's
are in the
embedded
contract. Yes.
within it. Okay.
So the other thing I'd like to ask is, could we ask this person to try to use local businesses for the materials where they can? Like we have a window and door supply company here in town, or have you already picked out?
We will be very careful because he is a contractor and he has specifications. We cannot require it, but we'll try to ask him.
Right, because I would just like to see the businesses that are paying taxes
Oh, I agree.
get the business
Right.
if they can supply the same thing at the same price.
Now, this is wild space money, so, and it's a grant, so it doesn't actually come from the taxpayer directly, sort of indirectly, but still.
Anytime you talk to me, I'm going to tell you to go local.
I
Okay?
will go local, that's right.
I think if we can do that, I think we need to, at all times, like we said before, I think we need to consider that and at least ask it. Whether or not they're able to do it is one thing, but we can be diligent, at least in our request that they do that. So
I found out personally I needed a door for my house, and Whitfield was able to get it for me at half the price of Lowe's, and it was a better product.
Right.
So I think sometimes we don't realize we have those assets in our communities.
I know our public works, they buy locally as much as they can.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, it's certainly something that we could address in our purchasing policy down the road if that's something that you wanted to have a more formalized policy for how we do that.
any questions or on this one here? We're renovating the Civic Center. Questions? Do I have a motion?
You have a citizen out here.
We have the frozen foot race coming up on February 10th. And I understand that we're planning on using it inside. Are we ready for that? This is through Parks and Rec.
I don't know, so let's hold on. What's that?
Because that's only 3 weeks out. That's 3 weeks from now. By the time they sign a contract and et cetera, et cetera.
So what's the date?
Since it's Robert who is doing it,
What's the date?
we'll figure it out.
Courtney? So whatever the contract needs to be signed, work can't commence after February 10th?
They would Robert would have to give them those.
Sure.
Sign the contract.
Right, I'm just,
Gather the materials, and then once they've got all that, they'll give those.
right,
We'll make sure the property.
I'm just saying within the date, so they've got it, so they're not showing up. I'd hate to be the contractor to have to deal with you.
Yes.
Anything else? Yes,
ma'am. We'll give you an alternate, probably the old schoolhouse, and move it, but as soon as the contractor gets it, we'll talk to him, and then we'll have the dates. Yes.
Anything else? I have a motion to, did I get a motion on this one?
I'll make such a motion.
To award it to,
This one.
I have to look. Okay, see, I make a motion that this contract to renovate the Civic Center be awarded to, or be assigned to CK Contracting Company.
do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
I've got a first and a second to award it to CK Contracting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none is approved. Thank you very much. Item number 2, Courtney.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is Resolution 2018B, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of High Springs, amending the city's personnel policy, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Your clerk and director of HR or HR director? Personnel director. All right, I was wrong all around. And does a fantastic job that as she's administering personnel, kind of keeps a list of things that are working and things that aren't working so well. So what you have before you is an amended personnel policy. One of the big things that we changed or tightened up, if you will, is I'm sorry, I should have gotten this ready for you. The was regarding unused sick leave. As you know, we now are on a PTO system, but we do have several employees that have sick leave that we allowed them to maintain when we switched systems. Yeah.
The wording's just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna find, okay, yes. Thank you very much. So, what we changed was that you could, when you left the city, that you would get 1/2 of your accrued and unused sick leave, but then we put a cap on it as well. So before we just had the cap and not the 1/2 of accrued, if that makes sense. And then we put an example in there basically so that it would make sense to everyone. We also made a change to for employee work breaks. We now require that, we've always required, it's just wasn't in the personnel policy, require that employees remain on the premises at the city when they're on their short breaks. So not their lunch breaks, but when they take their...
This is the 15, is it 15?
Just their 15 minutes, yes.
Okay.
We needed that explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. So, and I think that most followed that before, but as I said, when Jenny noticed things, she'll write it down. For longevity pay, this is on page 13. We were just trying to make it clear that you have to have remained employed at the time that we're issuing the checks.
Also, there's a statement in there that says no checks will be issued prior to the December date.
Right.
We made a change for the department heads. The department heads can't be paid out more than 800 hours, or can't carry over more than 800 hours of PTO time. Sorry. It's been a long day.
1,000 carryover.
It's 1,000 carryover, but it's 800 payout. But we were having some issues because your department heads worked too hard that they weren't always able to take their PTO because of things that were happening at the city. So now at your city manager's discretion, if there's extenuating circumstances that things are happening here at work that are causing them not to be able to use that PTO time, that they can carry over more of those hours.
Right. 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 I was just going to say, you can carry that, but the payout remains the same. Right. Okay.
And the last big change is in section 8 on training and development. Previously, we were just talking about reimbursement if an employee was going to school. But we realized that we were running into issues with employees that we were paying for that were going for professional licensures in other professional training. And so we've just kind of updated that section. I won't go into all of the changes, but it basically just makes sure that it's applying to more than just taking college classes, essentially.
This is certifications. It takes into this other types of
Yes.
advanced.
Yes. And so basically what we had before is, how we reimburse, and then if an employee leaves after we've paid. So we just want to make sure that we're covering all of our bases and not being too limited, because we do end up paying for a lot of trainings for professional and required licensures. And so those are the changes, and staff has looked at it, and Jenny and Mr. Booth and myself recommend the changes.
I just got one comment now. So when I look at that one saying employees must remain on the premise of job site during work breaks, that's, when I read that, I'm saying all breaks.
I think it needed, with the exception of lunch break. But I think it needs to say that.
Okay, we can put that on.
Yeah, because when I'm looking at if a new supervisor come in here and say, okay,
No, you're right.
you can't go nowhere.
You
can
could
stay
read
with
it that
the
way.
That's what
You could read
the
it.
policy says.
Or you could just add an excluding lunch. Just put a semicolon, excluding lunch.
So that section is only talking about those work breaks, but where I'm more than happy to adjust that language to put a parenthetical that says excluding meal breaks.
Right.
Anything else?
That's much better.
Will all of the employees get a copy of this revision once this is approved? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any comments, questions? Do Do I have,
What do you want us to do? It's a resolution.
We have to
we have to take roll
vote
call.
on it. I move that we consider resolution 2018-B regarding the personnel manual.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Hearing the person to say roll call, Jenny? Yes.
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 Motion passes 5-0. And Jenny, thank you and the others for the work on it. Item number 3, consider appointing a 5-member Citizens Advisory Task Force for CDBG grant application. Mr. Booth?
This is a requirement for the CDB grant. In front of you, there's the point system, the requirements. Really, this is a citizens group made up of one employee, which will be Bill, and the others will be from that area, but they'll select the area. So we're just selecting low-income members to that board. And Byron had, since he's the epicenter of the project, he'll find us some members. They only meet once, and their job really is to determine the scope of the project. I know we've pretty much said it, but it's their job to determine what the scope is.
Well, you have citizens input.
That's it.
And requirement. So specifically, so that people, can you say where this new water project is going to be?
Right. As I said, the epicenter is on the church at 250th. And it'll be all in that area, probably about 4 or 5 blocks to either side, and 4 or 5 blocks in.
And we did a recent one of these on the other side of town, that you're aware of. And they're going to replace the water pipes. They put in shutoff valves, which we found out the last time folks we went in there, we didn't have a lot of shutoff valves. And so we had water main breaks. It was like, they're trying to fix it with the water coming. So this is basically doing a lot of, killing multiple type issues on the deal, replacing old decrepit pipes, but then also. And the other thing I want to make sure, and Mr. Booth, if I'm wrong on the deal, is before is we really didn't have a schematic. We didn't know where the lines were. We didn't know where a lot of this stuff was. This allows us now to basically map it. So in the future going forward, I know it sounds hard to believe, we'll actually know where our water lines are and where the cutoffs are. And so this is huge. The previous one was 700,000. I'm assuming this one will be roughly
between 7 and 1 million.
So once again, we're making progress on getting things done under the ground. People don't see it, but it's positive. So how do we go about doing the 5-member citizens thing?
All you do is approve a committee of 5-member citizens, and that's basically it.
Do we need to, since, Byron, are you in agreement with as Mr. Booth said, he's basically put on you to survey and bring the citizens? So I would think that we would need something on this one here. It would be to authorize Commissioner Williams to gather or to find the 4 people. Do they have to come before us to be individually, or can we?
No. Last time they didn't.
Say what?
Yes.
Yeah, they have a form to fill out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So would I need a motion then from somebody to authorize Commissioner Williams to do?
I have a question real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You said 250th and like 5-block radius, but what about this section from whatever street we're at over that way? You have another whole neighborhood over there. Are you not looking at that at this time?
We are, and there will be a group that does a survey. And based on that survey, we'll really determine where that project will be.
Okay, because I know that the pipes over in this neighborhood are all the worst probably in the city, leading into over by the church 250th area. And if we don't pick those up, Rodney's still going to have problems trying to level everything out because those pipes are in very poor shape.
The criteria is low income.
Well, I'm sure that if you walked around or went around this neighborhood, there's probably enough what would meet some of the criteria that I saw in these numbers.
And that's a great question. I want to make sure on the deal is we don't pick the area, right?
No,
the
there's
survey
five,
does.
the five.
The people but they do the
and
survey.
the survey too.
And then
So they bring the survey to the 5 people, and they determine
Okay.
where the project will be.
Now,
Because I can survey over in this area, back in the Northwest neighborhood, I know there's families that live back there.
Yes, ma'am, but it has to be this group.
it's the 4 people that are put on the committee. It isn't a citywide survey.
No, and the survey is done by the individual doing the administrative for the CDB grant. So a lot of this is taken out of our hands and really put into Mr. Fox's hands. And then he does the survey. We have the 5 people. Then they look at the survey and determine where the project's going to be.
But that's what I'm asking, if they're just coming from one neighborhood or
No,
one.
they'll
Okay.
survey that whole area.
Okay.
Good questions. So I have a motion to authorize Commissioner Williams to pick the 4 citizens to be on this committee.
Motion.
I have a second.
I'll second.
I have a first and a second to authorize Commissioner Williams to pick the 4 citizens along with the Codes Enforcement Agent Bill to put on there. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. It passes 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Appreciate it. Appoint representative to the North Central Florida Regional Planning Council, Mr. Booth.
Yes. One of you have to be appointed. I realize that our council meetings are at the same time that the regional planning group meetings are. But every once in a while, we don't have a meeting, and you can go down to Lake City. Chicken is great. No, really, and the mashed potatoes are to die for. I'm trying to sell this. No, I mean, and that's it. Bill goes down there and he represents us and has chicken and the mashed potatoes once a month. But every once in a while, a council member can go down there when we're not having a meeting. But by their laws and that, we have to appoint a council member. Yes. Right.
How often do they meet? Monthly?
Once a month, and then I think in December they don't meet at all. Right.
Are you asking for a volunteer?
Well, I was going to ponder it. I was going to ask you, does anybody want to volunteer for that?
I will.
Is everybody okay with that?
Chicken, hey.
You like chicken?
Fried chicken.
You can take your husband too.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
He doesn't like fried chicken, but he likes mashed potatoes.
I'm sure they have
And you did a better job. You did a better job selling it this time.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to hope
So,
that, though.
just consensus, everybody okay with that? We don't need to vote on that. Everybody okay with it?
All right.
Okay. Let me know how it is.
Volunteer.
You've had experience, I know.
I have.
You thought he was going to get it again.
I was gonna speak up for him this time.
That a girl.
So thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
At this point in
I
time,
will report.
City Attorney, that is good.
That is good.
Appreciate it. Mr. Manager?
I have to have a report.
Actually, I'm so sorry, because I told Scott that I didn't have a report. I did want to say, without any details, that we did have a mediation on Monday in our lawsuit with La Bianca. It was an unsuccessful mediation, so we're continuing with litigation.
Okay. I liked his response better.
Do you have a report about going to Las Vegas?
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Mr. Booth.
All right. I'm doing a straight study. I'm looking at them in a bad way. And so this will lead up to probably a 10-year program looking at putting the first year $200,000 in doing railroad and $100,000 in doing some of these streets. These aren't paving the whole street. These are taking intersections especially. There are a lot of them that are still dirt, and we probably need to put and go through with the county and go ahead and chip and seal those roads. Because if we asphalt those roads, we've got the engineer, and the cost is monumental. But I'm about 25% there. I like to complete it in about 2 months, and then that'll go into the budget in the summertime. I've had a request from the Chamber of Commerce to move the gazebo, and so looking for a place in where the chamber is now, because where it's at isn't being used as a buzzard
Hotel.
Yeah. So I think we can better utilize that piece of equipment. I'm going to look at something that'll move it, and I'm told it'll move easily. It's well built, so we'll clean it up and move it. The CRA is moving closer to the chamber. That doesn't mean we're taking over the chamber. It just means we're moving closer. We both take care of the same area. We can advertise, and therefore we need to be closer ties. And saying that, I'm going to go to the banquet tomorrow as the CRA director. And I have to look like I'm from the 20s. Or I am 20. I'm not sure. We're gonna figure that one out. And then we had a good meeting in here last week over the project. I was really pleased. Most of the people really wanted it. Their septic systems really were failing, and this was a way of getting taking care of a problem. Jennifer was here, and most of the comments were the affordability of the cost as far as the impact fees. And I think she was able to take care of all that. Actually, I've had a lot of people that were from the subdivision Gondola. You may not know it, but it's off at 222. It's off to the right. There's about 90 homes. Apparently, a lot of them are failing, the septic systems. And so they're wanting to know when we're going to get to them. And they are really project 2 alpha. And so we have a 1 alpha, which is the 3.5 million, 2 Bravo, which is the 3.5 million, and then they'll be there. But between them, we're going to expand the sewer plant. So there's a lot of people in this city that have failed septic systems, including some of the people that are on the council in their subdivisions. And so they were all happy. Actually, it's River Run, and they were really happy that they got there. We got there. So, and that's about it. We've had a good week.
Good deal. Thank you, sir. Nancy?
I don't have anything. Thanks for looking at the roads, because that is something we need to make a priority. I appreciate you starting that.
Gloria? Anything?
I'm just glad to hear that the meeting went so well, because that was one of the things that I was going to ask.
Oh, yeah, I was
my
too.
session. So I'm really glad to hear that.
Ira? Yeah, I'm not going to break the streak. That ain't happening. Really nice to see everybody. I will say that. It's nice that you're here, and I appreciate your comments when you come up and you have suggestions and so forth. It's extremely important that we hear from you. So, I want to make sure that we probably don't ever say thank you enough. It's usually but we do thank you for coming here and keeping things in the limelight. And I appreciate that. We thank you. We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion made.
We're out of here.
All right.